Whoever controls the media controls the mind. Jim Morrison, lead singer of The Doors. Next. My name is Ryan Gallagher, and who knows what these are? Pretty recognizable. That's because the media's glorification of substance abuse has caused an increase in addiction among adolescents. And according to the Comprehensive Psychiatric Center, as a society, we have a duty to fix this through content moderation, user empowerment, parental guidance, and educational campaigns. Next. Let me tell you a story. Take you back to 6th grade. I was a soccer player. Whenever it got cold outside, we'd have to go play soccer at an indoor facility underneath the bridge in my hometown, Swickley. And I don't know if you've ever played soccer at an indoor facility like this, but the turf is paper thin. Might as well be playing on concrete. So I'm there, I'm running, I'm going to get the ball, and I trip, and pow! I hit my head against the ground like a car running into a brick wall. Now this started a long process of concussions and migraines for me. Naturally, being in pain every day, I started to have some mental health issues. And that's when I was prescribed medication. Simultaneously, at this time, in around 2015, media was glorifying drugs a lot, whether that was the OD of rappers that were being glorified, or influencers on TikTok that had just come out, movies, etc. So this had caused me to start abusing drugs. I'll say that again. Media had caused me to start abusing drugs. Now, 4 years later, I'm sober and have been for 4 years. But I'm not the only one that had to deal with this. Next. Zoom in if you need to help see this. According to this graphic from National Institute on Drug Abuse, U.S. drug overdoses between 1999 and 2021 have increased exponentially. And that's not the worst part. Next. Overdose deaths among 15 to 24-year-olds has increased sharply. And this is according to the National Center for Drug Abuse Statistics. So what do? Next. We need to start with social media. Kids these days are gaining access to social media at younger and younger ages. They're getting iPhones way earlier than previous generations and access to the internet. Motika and Ali Mom, in their paper on drug use in mass culture, state that the glorification of drug use by celebrities and the prevalence of such behaviors are other factors that may contribute to the liberalization of attitudes towards drugs. What does this mean? This means that society today has a much more inclusive thought of drug abuse than they did maybe 40, 50 years ago, before the internet. We as a society are more okay with drug abuse. Now, how do we solve this? Through content moderation. Us, as content posters, need to not post media that glorifies substance abuse. Social media platforms need to modify any media that involves substance abuse. They owe that to us as a society to not allow that on there, since it can be harmful to us. But they're not the only culprits. Music and TV also glorify substance abuse. Shows like Breaking Bad, one of the most popular shows of all time. Shows like Euphoria, where they have 16-year-olds overdosing in high school hallways, super realistic. Movies like Wolf of Wall Street. These glorify substance abuse and cause an increase in adolescent addiction. Motika and Alamam, again, in their paper on drugs use in mass culture, say, in the last 2 decades of the 20th century, many more films appeared in which drugs were used. They followed that up with a statistic that was on the Oscars in 2011, where they studied films and scenes in films, and 551 of them involved depictions of substance abuse. Does anyone know how many scenes are in an average movie? 40 to 60. You can do the math. With music, you have genres like country, rock and roll, rap, glorifying drugs and violence, and the party lifestyle. Back again to the glorious paper from Atika and Ali Mom, studies have shown that the number of drug references and lyrics of popular music in recent decades has increased many times. So what are the solutions to glorification of drugs and the increase of adolescent addiction through music and TV? Well, parental guidance and user empowerment. Parents, if you're giving your kids access to the internet and you see them seeing content like this, put an end to it. They don't need to see that. And user empowerment. We need to normalize people who don't want to take part in substance abuse. We need to end the stigma that it's not cool to not be okay with this. Finally, the biggest bad guys of them all, the pharmaceutical industry. Shocking, I know. Whenever you turn on the TV, you see all these commercials of people frolicking through fields at festivals with their family, talking about medications that save their lives. Granted, they might help, but they're not the answer. Kazmarek stated in her paper on the role of pharmaceutical industry in fostering goods and bad medicalization that marketing and advertising on the part of the pharmaceutical industry is aimed at increasing the sale of medicinal products. What does this mean? This means that the pharmaceutical industry exploits substance abuse for profit. How do we fix this? Educational campaigns. Kids need to know that over-medicalization is not the answer to their health problems. There are other ways. Harvard Health has said that exercise, nutrition, gratitude, and social connection are great alternatives to antidepressants. Now, you might say, Ryan, is this not media's job to stop glorifying substance abuse? Yes, but it is also our job as society to put pressure on them to stop it. Kasaglu of Royal Life Centers adds, if we're having a conversation about drugs, let's not forget to mention the topic of addiction and furthermore the topic of addiction recovery. Say that again, let's not forget to mention the topic of addiction and addiction recovery. As society, we need to put pressure on media to accurately depict substance abuse and not just show the glamorous party lifestyle of it. Next. In conclusion, media's glorification of substance abuse has caused an increase in adolescent addiction through TV, through music, through social media, and through the marketing of pharmaceutical companies. However, we can mitigate this through content moderation, through user empowerment, parental guidance, and educational campaigns. I'll leave you with this. Next. This is the Substance Abuse and Addiction Hotline. If you are struggling with substance abuse, know that there is help. You are not alone, and you will get through it. Remember what Jim Morrison said, whoever controls the media controls the mind. Don't let addiction control the mind, and together we can fight addiction. Thank you.